right, everyone, let's talk about this Nautage DA221 Diver. Right off the bat, though, for those that follow on social media, you may have noticed that this is a different Nautage than the one I posted pics of initially. The reason for that is there were a few QC issues with the first two. Yes, a second and now a third watch had to be sent. Unfortunately, this seems to be common with watches that are sent to reviewers. They aren't checked over properly, and since many have been looking forward to this one, I asked him to please send a third and told him to send the best one he had so I could look at this watch as it should be. Both were dial issues that were missed in QC from the factory and not looked over before they were sent to me. Now, hopefully, no one has any issues with any Nautage that they order, but that's the deal here, and that is why this is a different version than the all blacked out DLC one that I originally posted. Okay, so let's talk Nautage Diver. This is the first model from the brand, who are out of Denmark. This watch sells for $437 USD, no matter which finish you choose. And there are 4 finishes and 2 dial colors. This one shown here in the review is silver, but then there is an all black DLC, a gold, and a gray, which is like a dark bead blasted finish. No matter the color, all will have a bead blasted finish, and the black dial or white dial is what you get to choose from. Now, I'm going to put up all the specs here on screen, but let's talk size and design. First off, this is listed at being 41 millimeters, but I'm going to tell you right now that is deceiving, and I actually measure this to be larger, as 10:4 gets me 43 millimeters. If you include the crown, it's dead on at 45 millimeters measured from across the case. The lug to lug is 50 millimeters, though they do curve down, so this isn't really a long watch on the wrist, at least not on my 7.5-inch wrist. But for those that have an idea of a 41 millimeter watch, you may find this one larger than you would expect. I have to say, when it comes to design, I was excited for this watch to arrive. This isn't an expensive watch, but the design immediately struck me, and I knew I wanted to review this piece and check it out in person. The squared off, angular, cushion style case, the large round markers, it just looked great. When it first arrived, I kept staring at the case, racking my brain, as I knew I had seen something similar. Not that this is a copy or anything like that, I just knew that this was inspired by something, and then it hit me: the Stova Pro Diver. Now, again, this is not a copy of that watch, but definitely there's some similar design cues. But I emailed the owner and I asked him what his influences were. Funny thing, I also thought Unimatic U2, but then I looked at this watch again and I was like, nah, that's a very different watch. Turns out that Unimatic was actually the original inspiration, but after realizing it was not a very wearable design, they started to refine the case, and the end result is this DA221 Diver. The owner tells me it was only afterwards he realized the similarities to the Stova, and whether that's true or not, it really doesn't matter. It's not a clone or a ripoff, and yes, there are similarities, but it's not like the same case or overall design, and I don't think anybody would mistake one for the other. No crown guards for this diver, which is made in China, by the way. And the only reason I say it and say it like that is because I think I forget to say when a Microbrand is made in China, as a good majority are, but maybe I'll start to put country of manufacturer in the spec sheet here. But yes, made in China. Another thing to mention is that this says diver on the dial, not divers, and it doesn't claim to be ISO compliant. But back to the case, which again is all bead blasted, and this silver version, or your more standard bead blasted case, looks great, as did the DLC one I was originally sent. The coating looks good and feels smooth to the touch, and yes, that large crown is not protected, but it's very easy to grip. The bezel is obviously inspired by Panerai, and it's not too often we see a Microbrand use this style of bezel. I know of another one offhand that was the Crafter Blue Hyperion. I think Hyperion was the model. It might have been Hyperdive, I can't remember. But formerly the Undive watch. Now, a few things about this bezel. I think it fits this watch. It's not overly Panerai, But I wonder what is up with the empty markers. The first 15 minutes are signified by 3 metal inserts, but those then stop and the rest on the the rest are empty on the bezel, and I wonder why he didn't do all of it with loom instead. It has a cool look to it. I guess I would call them stencil markers or something, but then you don't really see them till you look up more, look more closely. Maybe some tweaking could be done here for future versions. Let me know what you think of the bezel down in the comment section below. All dials are no date, and if you missed it in the specs, yes, this is a no date movement as well, the Miyota 9039, which means no phantom date wheel. A young Microbrand even knew if you're gonna do a no date, use a no date movement. Other brands, please take notice. Now, the best part of this dial to me is these large loom plots with their chrome surrounds and this really uncluttered dial. Honestly, the hands are okay. I like that they went with the lollipop second hand, but the hour and minute, I wish they were filled in instead of partially skeletonized or open. The font used here is pretty simple. I don't think it's overly generic, and if you are wondering, what is Nautage? And by the way, side note, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the brand name correctly, but it basically means explore in time, which is loosely translated from Danish. At least I believe that is what he meant when I asked him about it. I do think of Nautica though when I look at this name, and of course one could say nautical as well, which is appropriate for a dive watch. Before I talk about the lugs and the straps, let's take a look at the caseback. And yes, it is an exhibition caseback showing off the Miyota 9039, but it's a smaller window than normal. And the cool touch here is the circles or portholes on the back that match the dial and bezel theme. This could easily have been a plain caseback or just all movement, but they decided to have a cohesive theme front and back, and I dig it. But then we get to the lugs, and that's where we have some problems that arise. Now, this watch was intended to have semi-hooded lug design, and Nautage wanted to have the integrated strap look as well as be able to take a regular 22mm strap as well. Now, I can confirm a 22mm strap looks just fine on it, but it doesn't exactly have that same it factor, as these are integrated style straps which flare out under the lugs. It gives it that Bell & Ross look, among others. So what's the issue, you ask? It is a pain in the you-know-what to get this strap on. I was warned beforehand that some had been having strap issues and that it's a pretty tight fit, and I had seen a few guys on the groups saying the same. All right, I've dealt with this before, so no biggie, I said to myself. Well, everyone was right and I was wrong. They are a pain, a big pain. But what's the deal, you ask? Why would you want to take the strap off and change it anyways? Well, Nautage offers about 10 strap colors, and you can get them with the matching buckles to the colored finishes they offer, and they come in some pretty damn cool colors, like this brick red color I'm showing you here, or a traditional red color, dark green, gray, yellow, even teal, and a few more. And these are really great straps, both in look and feel. I love the wide look of the case and the ribbing on the strap. It makes the whole watch feel higher end than it actually is. Now, some owners of this watch said curved spring bars help, and I wanted to try that, but of all the spring bars I have, I didn't have 22mm curved bars on hand. I went to order them, but to be honest, I forgot. But I have found that if you bend the top of the strap for a little, maybe like a minute or so, it does seem to make it a tiny bit easier to put the strap in. And if you have a good spring bar tool, like the spring bar compression pliers type deal, it will make it a little bit easier, but it's just a tight fit. The straps on the watch, when you receive them, seem to be good, so no worries there. Just when you go to change them out yourself, it's a problem. I will admit I did not even attempt to switch out the straps once this silver bead blasted version arrived. Christian, owner of Nautage, has told me they are looking into another way to mount the straps for the next batch. I don't know what that'll be, maybe he doesn't at this time either, but they are looking into it. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but maybe quick release bars would be the way to go here. Or on future cases, maybe use a screw bar system instead of regular spring bars, and then you could just line up the strap, put the bar in, screw it up, and off you go. Easy strap changes. Now, don't worry, I didn't forget the loom. I mean, how could you with a watch like this? You just know this thing is going to glow bright, and I assure you, it doesn't disappoint. Just look at it on screen. This is not only bright, but it does really last. It's the first Microbrand in a while where I can easily say that this will be visible 6 to 7 hours in the dark. I know the first night I tested it, I went to bed probably around 11:30, woke up at 7, and as I was digging myself out of the covers, this dial was still glowing a nice green and easily readable. Now, being straight up, I love the look of this Nautage diver. Pretty much everything about it appeals to me. The case shape, the bezel, the large crown, the massive dial indices, the straps, and the overall look, and it feels really comfortable on the wrist. But at least in my experience, they're having some issues they need to get ironed out, which is looking over the watch sent from the factory a little bit closer and maybe having a talk with said factory if needed and figuring out the strap mounting issues. If they do that, I think they could have a very bright future. Is there anything I missed or you are wondering about, or you just want to drop a line about this review? Head to the comment section. I always want to hear from you. I will have a written article on watchreport.com, so make sure to look out for that. And if you're feeling generous, go ahead and like and share this review. And if you're not subscribed with notifications on, go and do that as well. It really helps out the channel, and you are assured you will never miss another review. We have some great watches coming up. This is Don Evans from Watch Report. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.